Side of the gym. We're going to be focusing on actual range of motion and some isometric work, and then finally we're just going to be focusing on targeting and isolating the hamstrings. Your hamstring learns, your nervous system learns how to coordinate synergistically with other muscle groups throughout your posterior chain. One of my favorite all-time exercises to bulletproof my hamstrings is going to be a sliding hamstring curl. And the reason why I love this is because this is the first movement that is pretty advanced. It's like going from a leg curl to a little bit more of an advanced position, because now we're going to be doing a little bit of a glute bridge. And you can use, Sorenex has this slider here. And this is an East Side Barbell here in Eugene, Oregon. This place is amazing. They've got everything, right? So you can utilize this, or you can use furniture sliders. At Garage Strength, we use furniture sliders, and it's simple. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to see that if I can get down into a little bit of a glute bridge position here, I can get my heels on this carrier, right? So I'm going to drive my elbows in. I want to squeeze my shoulder blades, and I want to get my hips to extend up and use my hamstrings to focus on knee flexion. And so what's going to end up happening then is you're going to be using more of your lower back and your glutes for hip extension, and then your hamstrings are going to be responsible for knee flexion. And this is, this is a really good exercise that I haven't done in a little while. That's just going to hammer your hamstrings. So I like using these with our athletes at least twice a week. You can do 3 or 4 sets of 15 to 20 reps. And the thing that is impressive is that a lot of athletes early on, when we're talking knees, and the way that the knees will flex is by having our hamstrings pull us back in. That's where the rapid muscular action comes into play. So the hamstrings are predominantly fast twitch, so we've got to train them that way to get a really, really good response from them. That's why I love the razor curl. I recommend doing this once a week because it can be intense, but you could do 5, 6, 7 sets of 5 to 8 reps. And one of those tricks that you can do is time the set. Do 2 or 3 sets at a normal tempo, and then try and work some speed. And when you work some speed, I'm telling you right now, as your hamstrings get more swole, there is nothing, well, there's one other exercise which you're gonna see shortly, the best exercise, but this movement is absolutely phenomenal for bulletproofing your hamstring. Okay, the #1 exercise for hamstrings, and this is an exercise that my fastest running backs, my fastest sprinters, my fastest athletes all mastered and were able to execute very, very rapidly, and we rarely have hamstring issues. Very, very, very rarely do we have hamstring issues. Now, I also believe this is a key predictor for speed. So if you have a younger athlete and you can develop them to utilize this movement early on and master it early on, I do believe it ends up carrying over really well. I don't care what anybody says about isometric action during sprinting. If they can't do this movement, which is not isometric, then I believe that there's still going to be some hamstring issues when they're sprinting. And that movement I like to call hamstring pulls, but most people will call them